What's up, everyone? Welcome to Game Conclave. Thank you so much for watching. This is Vberg, and today we're going to be talking about 10 classic and awesome PS2 games that not only can you play them on modern hardware, you probably should play them. We're going to be starting the list off strong by talking about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out back in 2004, though the game takes place in 1992. In it, we play as CJ, who has recently returned to Los Santos, the fictional version of Los Angeles, after his mother was killed, only to find out that the neighborhood gang has lost their muscle and clout to their old enemies. From there, it's the usually wild and crazy kind of criminally charged stories that Rockstar is known for. And now this next statement might cause some controversy. If it does, tell me how dumb and wrong I am in the comments. It'll bring joy to the others here at Game Conclave to have you be mean to me. But I still think that San Andreas was the peak for Grand Theft Auto. I don't think any Grand Theft Auto that's come since has been a better game than San Andreas. Now, that isn't to say they're bad games by any means, because they're not. They're damn good games. But there's so many gameplay elements that were introduced in San Andreas that still haven't been added back in, like eating to maintain your strength and stamina, working out, which gave, CJ got jacked and increased his melee damage, the gang turf war stuff. There's just a ton of features that are still missing. Some of them have made their way back in on Grand Theft Auto Online, but they're not part of the base experience of either Grand Theft Auto 5 or Grand Theft Auto 4. So I just feel that as a complete package, San Andreas is the best one. It just had a bit more of that fun factor to me. San Andreas is still one of the best open world sandbox games to this day. You can play it on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. It's part of the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition collection, and it's been patched up, so many of those just terrible, terrible bugs that were plaguing the game back at launch have all been taken care of. It's in a great state now.
Man, are you a buster?
Nah, I'm down, homie.
Onimusha Warlords is the first title in the Onimusha series, which is finally coming back next year, and I am super pumped for that. You can go back and check out where the whole Samurai Action series started. This came out back in 2001, and its sister series, cousin series, I don't know what the hell to call it. Onimusha and Devil May Cry were originally conceived of as Resident Evil spin-offs, and then they each kind of just became their own thing. You can really see that in both of them, that Resident Evil DNA from that time period and the fixed camera angles and some of the menu elements and other user interface aspects. In Onimusha, you play as Samanosuke Akechi, who is attempting to rescue the Princess Yuki of the Saito clan from the clutches of the demonic Genma. He, however, proves no match for the first major demon he encounters, and after he's beaten, he is gifted the Oni Gauntlet by the Oni tribe, who have now given him the ability to seal the souls of the defeated Genma and use them as currency to empower his elemental weapons and orbs that he uses for magic attacks. This is a great series. I'm really glad Capcom has finally kind of remembered the existence of it. If you want to check out where it all began, you can pick this classic title up on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC.
I will destroy all of those monsters and save the princess!
Final Fantasy X released back in 2001 and is one of the best RPGs from the PS2 library, and it's got a pretty stacked library, so yeah. It's a personal favorite of mine. It was the last Final Fantasy title that the series creator Hironobu Sakaguchi and the original composer Nobuo Uematsu worked on before leaving Square Enix. In it, you play as Titus, who lives in Zanarkand, as a young athletic superstar in the national pastime Blitzball, which is kind of like an underwater soccer. And his city is attacked by a mysterious monster, and during this, his missing dad's friend appears for the first time in years to tell him it's time for his journey to begin. Whatever the hell that means. Titus then awakens in a mysterious new place and tries to tell people that he meets what happened, but they tell him he must be sick and he must have been poisoned. And there's something wrong with him. You gotta be confused because that city he's claiming to be from was destroyed over 1,000 years ago. He then meets a summoner gal named Yuna who's trying to save her world from a mysterious monster named Sin that is attacking her world. He'll join her quest, hoping to find answers how to get back home. And the game's combat plays out in a turn-based system where the different characters in your party will serve different roles to capitalize on enemy weaknesses. You'll use skills and items, summons, magic to kill monsters, and level up across a highly customizable sphere grid, allowing your characters to mix and match skills from various different classes, or to be taken to the extreme and max out everything if you want to. There's optional super bosses, dozens of side quests, super fun, and some super frustrating mini-games. Blitzball is particularly particularly a standout one to me. I think it's awesome. I don't care who disagrees. Tell me, again, how wrong I am down in the comments. But seriously, if Square Enix had ever made a standalone Blitzball game, I would have bought it day one. Okay. There's a ton of phenomenal characters. It's a really great story, gorgeous music, and a very fun and very different fantasy setting inspired by Polynesian islands and myths. Final Fantasy X is a fantastic game. You can play it on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC as part of the Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Collection Pack. Devil May Cry, just like the aforementioned Onimusha, was originally conceived of as a Resident Evil title before being spun off into its own thing. It originally released back in 2001. It's a stylish, over-the-top hack-and-slash game where you play as Dante, a demon hunter, and the son of the legendary Dark Knight Sparta. Dante wields swords and dual-wields pistols named Ebony and Ivory, as well as fist weapons. Dante is attacked by a mysterious woman named Trish, who reveals to him that his father's nemesis has arisen from the underworld and is once more seeking to take over the human world. You'll trek to Mallet Island and complete various missions where you're scored based on how well you can chain together various combos and avoid damage. The boss fights are tough but fun, and there are some secret missions to discover for extra challenges. And the story has some of the tastiest of cheesy dialogue. I mean, listen to this delightfully bad dialogue.
Dante,
Trish, devils never cry.
Anyway, joking aside, this game is a certified classic in the character action genre, and it's available on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC as part of the Devil May Cry HD collection, and it can be purchased as a standalone game on the Switch.
You were the first one to know about my vengeance. Looks like I'm getting closer.
Persona 4 Golden. Okay, this one's kinda cheating, because Golden never came out on the PS2. Only the base Persona 4 experience did. But we don't care. We don't care if we're fudging it, okay? We just want to talk about cool games. Persona 5 obviously catapulted the Persona series into the mainstream, but the PS2 had both Persona 3 and its Fez version, as well as Persona 4, the baseline experience. Persona 4 Golden, which is the one available on modern consoles, is the upgraded version with extra content. You play as a young man who's left the big city to stay with his uncle in the small rural town of Inaba when a series of bizarre murders begins taking place. There's these rumors of a mysterious midnight channel where your soulmate will supposedly appear at midnight on a rainy night, and you discover that you've gained supernatural abilities and can now travel into televisions, which house another world filled with monsters and a warped version of your town. You and your friends realize that the person doing the killing must have access to the same world and is using it to kill their victims, and you vow to stop them. And when you're not doing that, you're going to school, studying for quizzes, and working part-time jobs to earn cash and investigate people around town. Dungeons are procedurally generated with chests to loot and shadow monsters to fight in challenging turn-based combat where exploiting enemy weaknesses and protecting your own is the key to victory. This is a fantastic game, one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It takes a long while to get going, like a very long while, but once it does, it's really, really good. If you've played Persona 3 Reload or Persona 5 Royal, or you just love RPGs, do not hesitate to give this one a go. You can pick it up on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC.
Take a look! I am a shadow. The true self.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the best damn fighting games ever made for a multitude of reasons. The controls are responsive, the animations are fluid, and the soundtrack is bangin' jazzy-tasticness. Plus, what other game out there lets you mash up 90s era X-Men sporting their Jim Lee and Chris Claremont era redesigns in a badass game? Not many anymore, dammit. But no, seriously. I mean, have you ever wanted to have Magneto and Akuma duke it out? Or engaged in those hypothetical power level arguments online designed to keep fan bases screaming at each other rather than just recognizing both franchises are cool as hell? If so, this game will answer those perplexing questions for the ages you've been suffering under, like who wins when Cyclops and Ryu duke it out? Or is Zangief taller than the Hulk? Kidding aside, though, you could just duke it out in this classic fighter with 28 iconic Capcom characters, 28 awesome Marvel characters. There's Darkstalkers characters picked from X-Men, Avengers, Street Fighters, and all kinds of other series. You can use these characters to pull off awesome assists, team hyper combos, attacks all over the screen, and just a ton of sheer awesomeness. And the best part is, when this game got rare back in the day, used copies started going for like $80 to $100. New ones were going for like $200. But nowadays, you can just pick it up on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC as part of the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, which comes along with 6 other games at a far more reasonable price point. Romancing Saga Minstrel Song is a classic RPG from the PS2 that released actually really late in the console's life cycle. It came out late 2005, just as the 7th generation was starting, so this one kind of flew under a lot of people's radar. The Saga series feels like it's kind of finally starting to find its footing these days with the remasters and remakes of a lot of the old games, such as 2024's Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven, kind of gaining some traction. But yeah, Minstrel Song is the PS2 remake of the original Super Nintendo RPG Romancing Saga, and just like in most Saga games, it is obtuse and difficult as hell. There's 8 different characters to play through the game as, such as Gray, a wandering swordsman, Aisha, who is searching for a missing tribe, Albert, a young nobleman sent to warn the Empire of an attack on his family's keep, or Claudia, a young orphan raised by a witch who leaves her forest for the first time, and several others. The game features turn-based combat, a non-linear story, crafting, questing, a multitude of classes to specialize in for abilities and skill growth. There's over 20 potential allies to build your party out with in this hardcore RPG. You don't gain levels in Saga games. Instead, stats come randomly after battles, and it's based on how you use the character. This is the kind of series that rewards exploration and just letting the player solve things themselves. It is definitely not a series for everyone, but if you like your RPGs dense with mechanics and little to no hand-holding, this is a series you should definitely be taking a look at. Romancing Saga Minstrel Song can be picked up on the PS4, PS5, Switch, or PC. Max Payne came out back in 2001. It was developed by Remedy Entertainment, the creators behind Control and the Alan Wake series. It was a gritty film noir style game about Max Payne, an undercover cop trying to avenge the death of his wife and daughter. The game's story, which is told in these awesome graphic novel style panels, and while Max was investigating the Punchinello crime family, he ends up being framed for the murder of his partner, and that's just basically the intro. There's a ton of more crazy stuff that happens. So Max Payne wasn't the first game to introduce bullet time mechanics, but it was definitely the title that popularized them. It's also hilarious how Max just gobbles painkillers to restore his health. That's some seriously hard-boiled stuff, so... A full-fledged remake by Remedy and funded by Rockstar is actually in the works at the moment, but you can still play the original game and see where it all started on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC.
He was dead. I could tell by the empty, accusing stare of his eyes.
Red Faction came out in 2001 and takes place on Mars in the year 2075. And Mars is essentially run as a corporate hell state where the Ultor Corporation, who imports workers to mine precious minerals Earth needs direly and treats them like they are disposable sacks of garbage forced to work themselves to the bone for meager pay, whether they be tired or sick. And then to top it off, a plague has spread that's mysteriously killing people off. And the guards continue to treat everyone like crap till everything reaches a boiling point. I've never heard of any place like that, have you? Anyway, you play as Parker, who is duped into thinking he'd make a ton of cash while figuring out his life. Instead, you'll rebel along with the other miners in this classic first-person shooter. And due to the developer's geomod technology, you can alter the terrain in all sorts of awesome ways with explosives and other tools, allowing all sorts of fun shenanigans. You know, you can blow up a hole and find guards below you that can drop in and kill. This game was just so ahead of its time for destructible environments. I think there's still dozens of games made a year that tout features that Red Faction had back in 2001, and these new games often do it worse. And that's crazy. It was a seriously fun game that I think most folks have kind of forgotten about. And you can still check it out on the PS4, PS5, and PC. Alright, and last up we have Jak and Daxter. Wow. Talk about a bygone era from Naughty Dog. Now they just remaster... Oh, hold up. There's a note here. It says... You already made fun of Naughty Dog 3 times this month for remastering The Last of Us over and over. The joke is stale. Move on. Fine, I'm moving on. Jak and Daxter is a classic 3D platformer from Naughty Dog, known for always making their fans happy. Better? Okay, all right, seriously. Jak and Daxter is a really fun open-world platformer. It was released back in 2001. In it, we play as Jak, who is accompanied by his friend Daxter, who has been transformed into a goofy otter weasel thingy after the two of them disobeyed the Green Sage and traveled to the Misty Island. They now need to find a cure for Daxter, and to do that, they'll have to find the other sages and uncover a plot that threatens the world. You'll double jump, spin, dive, kick, swing, charge, and solve puzzles on this delightfully fun and charming classic adventure that can only be found these days on the PS4 and PS5.
Rule number 1, I don't date animals.
You don't know what you're missing.
So tell us, what PS2 games do you still play occasionally to this day? Or what are some PS2 games that you wish were playable on modern hardware? Down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And as always, from all of us here at Game Conclave, thank you so much for watching.